Jane Austen was born in Steventon in Hampshire, a small village in southeast England, in 1775. She had 6 brothers and 1 sister to whom she was particularly close, and who, like her, never married. Her father was an Anglican pastor who provided personally to her education and who noted his daughter's literary talents so much so as to contact an editor. She began writing her first novels in 1787, and between 1795 and 1799 she began laying out the draft of those works that would become her most celebrated, among which Pride and Prejudice. In December 1795, she met and fell in love with Thomas Lefroy, nephew of some neighbors, but his family considered Jane socially inadequate, and for this reason Lefroy was sent away from Steventon, and thus making the marriage impossible. In 1816, Jane Austen became seriously ill and died in 1817, probably due to Addison disease in Winchester, where her sister had taken her to be cured. Jane Austen is considered a great British writer belonging to pre-romantic narrative. In all of her works, the female character represents the main figure, while man is described less accurately, maybe because in real life she had few relations, if any, with men. Even though she lived during the period of Napoleonic works, she never writes about war subjects in her works, but only of love stories. That is, love stories lived during those times in which the only thing that counted was social class. She herself, after meeting Thomas, lived the same situation. And this is why, through her works, we are able to understand the feelings of the woman of those times, and sadness of many marriages that could never take place. Among her main novels, we can remember Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice was published on January 28, 1813. The novel deals with the love story between Darcy, a very wealthy man who initially appears to be very surly, but who is actually only shy, and Lizzie, a girl who is full of life, sociable and natural, but of a social class inferior to Darcy's. She initially detests his surliness, but at the end falls in love with him after knowing his kindness. Obviously, in this romance, there is an happy ending when Darcy asks for Elizabeth's hand. The title represents the main themes of the novel. In fact, Pride is reflected by Mr. Darcy, while Prejudice is Elizabeth Bennet, the 2 protagonists of the novel. Mrs. Bennet, Lizzie's mother, perfectly symbolized the mother figure of that era. In fact, she is obsessed with wanting to see her daughters married, for fear that they be left without a dowry and without a husband, thus looking very bad in society. On the contrary, Mr. Bennet is a nice man, convinced that none of his daughters, except Lizzie, is gifted with great intelligence. There are about 12 television and movie adaptations of Pride and Prejudice, among which the most famous are the 1940 movie version of Robert Leonard with Laurence Olivier and Greer Garson, the 1995 television miniseries with Colin Firth and Jennifer Hale, and lastly the 2005 movie version with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden. I consider the best version to be the one filmed in 2005 because it follows the book very closely, except for few details. After I watched the movie and read the book, I can specify some essential differences. Some characters, such as Mr. Bingley's married sister, are not represented, but are only marginal, thus the story is unaffected. The characteristics of personalities are just as described in the book, but thanks to the film we can see a more accurate description of the man, who in the book are described more superficially, because of the few relation with men had by Jane Austen. In the film, Mr. Darcy expresses his love for Elizabeth in a much deeper way, and we know this especially thanks to the excellent recitation by the actors, who, through their expressiveness, are able to let us identify ourselves with the characters. Mr. Bingley, Mr. Darcy's best friend, shows a more elegant personality in the book, while in the movie he appears excessively cheerful and a bit clumsy. The same goes for Darcy's sister, who appears shy and awkward in the book, while in the movie she is very sociable. Several situations are represented in different ways, such as Darcy's first declaration of love, which in the movie occurs in the rain, while in the book it is a sunny day. The details that are changed are not significant, but serve only to make the story more romantic by the movie director. In addition, some scenes in the book are not included in the movie, but this is only due to time limits. Lizzie, exactly as in the book, is a fresh and intelligent young woman, one with her own opinion that she is not ashamed to express. However, in the film, her personality is surely more exaggerated than in the book. Furthermore, the movie director focused a lot of attention to the clothing of the time, exaggerating, however, my opinion, in regard to the Bennet family, who is represented too low compared to Darcy's or Bingley's family. In fact, Elizabeth at times appears too unkempt. The irony of the novel, which is one of Jane Austen's great characteristics, is also maintained in the movie. The characters of Pride and Prejudice, despite having lived in another era, appear very modern in the book and in the film, and this is why their love story still fascinates us. In my opinion, the movie succeeded in making the novel better, thanks to the addition of music, colorful costumes, and emotion, which in the book are unable to be perceived. Music in some scenes is certainly fundamental and adds a touch of romanticism to the novel.